to another episode of Legion Elite Motorsports. I'm your host Isaiah, and today we're going to see what's up with that twin cam turbo build. So let's dive in. Wow, we haven't seen this thing in a long time. It's actually building up quite a bit of dust. Look at that. That's a good amount of dust. Well, I know what you're thinking. Like, this is the most prettiest table, anyone's ever seen thus far, And I have to agree, but this is actually not ready. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over some of the things that is going to be happening next. One, we have to prep the fuel system for this engine that's on the car, and I do have something ready to get that done. Let me grab that for you so you can take a look. Okay, so in this box, we have a fuel pump. Not just any fuel pump. This one is also a Hellcat unit. So let's take a look. Alrighty. Alright, so I already have the fittings ready to go. I got the return line right there. This is the feed with this cool adapter kit. There, plug, ready to go. Everything is ready to go. So that's one thing I do have to do, which I'm not gonna do yet. Next thing is, got a nice HKS cover on there. Was going back and forth through it for a bit, and I was like, this isn't the best coverage because this cover is not for this generation of engine. It's actually for the first generation. So yeah, so what I did was had it modified, and it's covering enough. So that's good enough, and yeah, so nothing will drop straight into anything. So that's good. Also, the next thing is this guy down here. So for turbo applications, normally you want a way to cool down the oil. Now on this head, which is a 99 4G92 head, the actual 1.6 block that this comes with has an oil cooler that goes right in here, and it bolts to the back of the block, and it has coolant running through it. Coolant running through it to keep the oil cool, because the coolant is cooler than the oil. So, that's how that works from the factory. But this is a 1.8 block, and this doesn't work like that. So I wanted to do external oil cooler, or oil to air cooler. So I've come up with this. A good old sandwich plate. So I don't have the lines yet, but let me give you an idea of what it's going to look like. So usually when the engine is in the car, this is pretty low. Not lower than the oil pan, but pretty close. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this guy off. Wrong way. Alrighty, I'm gonna take this guy off. Alright. And then we're gonna put this guy on, like so. And there's supposed to be a gasket at the bottom. Hold on, I'm gonna get a better shot of this in a second. Let me tighten it up a little. Move it into position, because the axle is going to be coming right through here, so we don't want any of it to, point that way. So So yep, I'm gonna get this tightened up. So right along here, like right about here, there's a frame rail. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna say around the AC compressor area, there's going to be this guy. This holds the filter. So I'm gonna bolt it up like this, probably something like that, give or take. And then the filter is gonna be aiming this way towards the, I wanna say, the window washer fluid bottle. So it'll be aiming there, and then in front of that will be the oil cooler. So this is a little bit more of what I gotta put together to get this thing the way I want it. So I can hang it down and have the lines come from here into these, and then have the filter accessible right behind the oil cooler. But I definitely want some room to make everything, you know, fit properly. So I don't have the oil cooler yet. I have to take some measurements of the area and see what size oil cooler will fit under there and kind of take it from there. So now let's go to the car and take a look at what we're doing. So here we are at the car, and basically we got the shroud and everything in the way, but if you look there, you can see that's where the oil filter is, pulley, all of that good stuff. And then we're gonna run up under this cover. We're gonna have to remove this window washer fluid bottle. I need to see if I could find a replacement in a different area. So we see we got oil cooler room over here perfectly. Let's go through the front. This car is very dirty, jeez. It's been raining a lot, so that makes sense. So right through here, we have ample amount of room for a cooler. And right above, we have mounting area. So we're gonna basically take and line up an oil cooler, not as close as possible up in here, but pretty close. And then we're gonna utilize this free air right through here. And then, if you look over here, this guy can mount, once all of the plastic's out of the way, can mount on this frame rail further this way, closer to the AC compressor. And then that'll make things a lot simpler to bolt everything up and make it happen. So we'll get a better in-depth look as soon as I clear some of this out of the way. And also pertaining to the window washer bottle, I wanted to do another one in a different location. So let's look in the engine bay for a second. So right up in this area, I heard there's a bottle that goes in this area and utilizes some of this area, and it actually comes from an Evo 4, 5, and 6. So I'm gonna look into that to see if I'm able to find, if not the original bottle, maybe an aftermarket one, so we still can utilize the windshield washer fluid. I want this car as treatable as possible, as you can tell. But also, yeah, we're gonna talk about why you would need an oil cooler in just a second. So basically, why would you need an oil cooler? I want to touch bases on that just to kind of give you an idea of what the purpose of this truly is, okay? So if you're a daily driver, you know, you drive it from work and back type situations, you won't need an oil cooler. If you you know, drive it from and to. Like, let's say you're driving a 3-hour trip and you're going to be pushing it here and there, you may not need an oil cooler, or, you know, it'll operate better for you, but probably not needed, right? But those of you who drag race, this is something you might want to look into. Reason being is because by the time you get to the end of the track and, you know, you're ready to run again, you have to let the oil cool down before you go. Otherwise, the oil's not going to function properly. It's going to overheat and damage your engine, long story short. Or all of you who, you know, have a drifting engine or something like that, you need an oil cooler. And for all of you who circuit race, you need an oil cooler, okay? It's pretty much self-explanatory. They actually have some of these that have a thermostatic release valve that allows it to turn on and off so it doesn't cool down the oil too much. But in that aspect, you just basically, instead of doing that, because you don't want to starve it, because it's built to have the filter put on the bottom, but that is too tall. That actually makes it an extra, you know, 2 inches or so, give or take, closer to the floor, and that's not what you want. So I'm gonna remove it completely and have a cooler. Actually, I think I have a cooler. Let me show you what that looks like. Hold on. There we go. So now you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about. So basically, on the return trip back to this guy, you go through the oil cooler. So coming out, which will be the side one, that goes to the oil filter, comes out of the oil filter, so it's nice and filtered, so you don't dirty this up with any debris. And then it comes through here, back out, well, vice versa. You come in through here, and then you come out over here, path of least resistance, and boom, your oil's cooled. So basically how I'm gonna do it is I'm going to have this free flow air coming through this, and then when it starts to, you know, run hot, I have this that actually goes on the back of there. So once this reaches a certain temperature, which I'm gonna put the temperature gauge in the filter housing, see, through one of these screws here, which you see it peeking through there, so to get a fresh reading of oil temperature. Once it reaches a certain temperature, it's gonna turn on the fan. So that's where I'm going with this, and this is, you know, mainly one of the reasons why it's not complete, because I have to finish all of this, get it ready, and take measurements, get the wheel off, make sure I clear out the water bottle, modify the water bottle first, and then go ahead and put everything else together. So this is just some of the reason why this engine isn't in yet. And it's so dusty. Oh yeah, super dusty. So I'm gonna clean that off. So, yep. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys this, because I get a lot of comments asking, oh, can't wait for you to put the twin cam in. When are you gonna put it in? It's not done yet, but as soon as I get some time, I definitely will be jumping all over this project to get it where it needs to be. But yep, put this here so you can get a nice visual. And that's gonna be perfect. Upgrading the oil system. Yep. And with that being said, we're gonna call it an episode right there, but long story short, there's still more to go. So we're gonna dive into that and make sure that everything is ready for the engine. There's no such thing as perfection, but I wanna get as close as possible. So let's stay tuned and let's see what we do next episode. And remember, knowledge is power. I'll see you guys next time.